Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. I'll give everyone just another minute or two to join, so just sit tight and I'll get started here soon. All right, so let's go ahead and get started now. Welcome to our tips and tricks webinar. And once again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. My name is Brooke. I'm a member of the support team here at Floify, and I'll be walking you through the different types of users and the access they have in Floify. So during my presentation, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback about user types, or really any other functionality in the Floify platform, please use the live chat feature to the right on your screen to reach us directly. My fellow team members are standing by to address any questions or comments you may have along the way. And if you have a personal wish list or any recommendations for features you would like us to cover in our upcoming tips and tricks webinars, please send your ideas to us through the live chat as well. So let's do just a quick rundown on the topics we're going to be covering today. So first, we'll do a brief introduction about the different types of users that there are in Floify. Then we'll go over all of the ins and outs of what it means to be a manager of a team account. We'll then cover supporting and shared users and the different types of access that they can have. We'll cover the admin access, and this will include both company and organization access. And lastly, we'll briefly touch on realtor and borrower accounts. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. The different types of users. So there are 5 typical user types in Floify. That first type that we'll be going over are those manager users, and those are typically the pipeline owner, so the LO, the broker, basically the face of that account. Next are the supporting and shared users, and these are users that will generally have access to support the pipelines that they have access to. So whether it's to request additional documentation, or maybe it's just to manually prompt out those deadline reminders, letting those borrowers know that they still have documents. These are the users that will really be helping along the way. And these do come in 2 different types. So first we have those super users, and then we also have regular users. And this type of access really determines the level of access that they have to your settings and to the account users. Third, we'll be going over the organization and company admin. These are users that have access to the company or organization dashboard. So this basically means that they have access to all of the users that belong to that company and dashboard, as well as all of the settings. So any settings overrides that you want to create, these would be those users that have access to it. It's basically the highest level of access that you can have in Floify. And then last, we'll be going over briefly just touching on those realtor and borrower accounts and users. So what exactly is a manager and how does this tie into a team account? Like I said before, you can really think of the manager as the face of the account or the owner of the account. The manager has their own individual landing page where you can see all of the manager's contact information, their landing page image, the logo, everything like that. They have a specific subdomain that is completely customizable. And usually when we're creating that account, it's usually set as firstname, lastname.floify.com. And then the third aspect of the manager users as well as the team accounts is that it comes with a specific set of team settings. So these are the settings that really take place for every user on that account. So any supporting users would see those settings in their accounts as well, since it's really just the shell of the manager account that those supporting users are logging into. Internally, we generally refer to these as LO or broker accounts, since it's usually the LO or the broker who is the manager on the account. And I'm going to just quickly do a brief walkthrough of the manager account here. So let me start sharing my screen. All right, so I'm logged in here to my manager account. You can see I have all of my borrowers in my pipeline. I have 128 documents to review, which is not very good. But additionally, I have my home, my prospects, integration settings, users, audit log, etc. But really what I'm going to focus on right now is the upper right-hand corner. So right now, if I look in the upper right hand corner, I can see my email address, and this really means that this is the account that I'm logged into. So brooke@floify.com, and then to the right of that is the team name. So I can tell that I'm in the Roberts' team account. So I'm looking at Brooke Roberts pipeline. So I can see all of the Roberts teams borrowers, and any changes that I would make into settings or users or borrowers, etc., will take place only in this Roberts team's pipeline. The other quick thing I wanted to mention is that a manager account or a manager user can also be considered a supporting user if they have access to another team's pipeline. So I'll go over this a little bit more once we go into supporting users, but the really cool thing here is that I could just easily click on Robert's team in the upper right hand corner. I'm not listed now as a member of any other teams, but if I was, it would be easily accessible for me to click into a different pipeline that I had access to. A little sneak peek here, you can see that you can get into the organization or company dashboard as well. But another cool thing here is that if I go into users, we will be able to see who is the manager of the account, what are the supporting users, and what type of access do these supporting users have. So here I can see that super user access and regular user access that we'll be going over next. And another quick mention here, we have a couple of help action icons over to the right. If you notice this airplane icon, that really just means that your supporting user has never actually logged into Floify. So you can manually send out that verification email again to them, just giving them a little prompt saying, hey, you haven't actually signed into your Floify account. The other quick thing is that as the manager of the account, I can actually edit users. So if I wanted to edit Brooke, I could come in here, edit change their name, last name, change up their email address. Maybe Brooke has left and I have another processor that I want to have access to my account. I can just go ahead and manually change that, save that information, and then they will then have access to my account. The other thing that I want to mention here is if I'm going into the edit user and deleting a user, it will not actually affect your billing. So if you're wanting to completely remove a user from your account that you're paying for, please reach out to support@floify.com so we can complete the process. And then the last thing I wanted to go over are the settings. So as I mentioned before, I'm logged into my manager account, which in terms is a team account, and each team has a specific set of settings. So I can see here that I have my team logo. So this logo is going to show up on my landing page. I have all of my team information. So here, this is the Roberts team is what shows up in the upper right hand corner, so that your supporting users can tell which account they're in. And I can also change my website subdomain. As I said before, when we're creating the accounts on support's end, it usually just defaults to firstname.lastname.floify.com. And then last, that landing page configuration is where I'll be able to input my headshot for my landing page. And then one last section I wanted to go over is my account details. So the account details for the manager account are really important. We can see here I have my name, my email, my NMLS, and all of my phone numbers set. Additionally, I have this third section down is my email signature. And what this means is that all of the automatic notifications that go out from my account are going to have this stamped at the bottom. So even if I have an assistant coming in here and manually prompting out that deadline reminder, she's going to be doing that work, but I'm going to be getting that credit for it because it's going to be showing from Brooke at Floify along with my email signature at the very bottom of it. And then that last thing, that profile information is important because if I go over to my subdomain, you see brookeroberts.floify.com. This is where I can send my borrowers to access the mortgage calculators and apply and log in. But it's really important because this is where all of my manager account information shows up. So my borrowers can easily see my contact information. So that is pretty much it for manager accounts. So let's go ahead and jump into the next topic. Now let's learn a little bit about the supporting and shared users and the different types of access given to super users versus regular users. So like I mentioned previously, your supporting and shared users will generally have access to support pipelines or even multiple pipelines. And the big thing here is that when we create a supporting or shared user account, they still have their own set of credentials. So they're still logging in with their email address and their specific password that they've set up. But they log into their account, which is then given access to the manager account. So beneath the manager account, it can have multiple different supporting users, and then shared users really means that that supporting user has access to multiple different pipelines. And then the two different types of access that we have here are regular users and super users. Super users and regular users have complete pipeline and loan flow access. So here they'll be able to see every single borrower in your pipeline. They'll be able to edit the loan flow information, manually prompt out emails, send out those milestone emails, really make any changes to a borrower's loan flow. They can request documents. They can go and accept, reject documents, all the good things. But for regular users, the company admin can actually restrict the access that they have to the team settings. So let's say that I've gone in and I'm a manager and I've set up my logo. If I want to make sure that my supporting user cannot change my logo, I can go into the company dashboard and actually restrict their access there. The settings for super users, though, will always match the manager and the admin. So there's no way to change the access there. Well, there is a way to change it. You wouldn't want to change that if you're wanting to allow that manager or admin to have access to that specific setting. The next difference is that super users have access to edit, delete, and add additional users to that account. So these would be supporting users, while the regular users cannot edit, delete, and add users. They can still click on that users tab up there at the top, but they don't have access to make any changes there. So let's go ahead and put this into live action here. Let me start sharing my screen. So I'm now logged into a supporting users account, and this supporting user actually has super user access. So we can see here that I still have access to the complete loan pipeline. So I have access to all of the borrower's information. I can edit the loan flows, archive loan flows, change the loan activity notices, see all the docs pending, etc. And then at the very top, I still have access to the prospects, the settings, the users, the audit log, etc. But I now see my email address is for my specific account. So if I click on my account details, I can see this specific user's information. So here you can see it's now blank. I don't even have an email signature set up because I'm not the loan owner on any of the loans. And then in the upper right hand corner is where I can tell which team I'm on. So like I was saying, the team account is really that shell of the account. So as a supporting user, I just have access to different people's shells of accounts. So like right now I'm in the Roberts team, but if I click on change team, I am going to then have access to 4 different accounts or 4 different manager or team accounts. So if I click into Eric's account, that's going to then take me into his pipeline. So along with his settings and everything like that. I'm going to go back one more step here. But the one thing I did want to mention is that for any supporting users, you can, of course, set up your email signature, but your email signature only is going to be stamped at the bottom of those those automatic notifications that go out to the borrowers if you are the flow owner. So if I know that Brooke Borrower, and I know everything is Brooke, if I know that Brooke Borrower is more likely to respond to me as a supporting user. Maybe I've been talking to them a lot because I'm the assistant, so they know my face a lot. I may want to come in here and say, I'm really familiar with Brooke. I'm going to go ahead and edit this loan flow. I'm going to change the loan owner and change it to test processor because that's my account that I'm on right now. I'll save this, and that means that any of the automatic notifications will now be sent out with my email signature stamped at the bottom, as well as the from will be from my email. So next I want to talk about the settings. So as this processor account, I have access, and I'm now a super user. So if I go into the users of this account, I can see Brooke Plus Processor at Floify.com is a super user. So this means that I have the exact same type of access as a manager or as an admin. So my access to the settings shouldn't have changed. I have access to everything that that manager has access to, so I can make any changes here. So if you are making any changes to a team account, just make sure that you're in the right team, because you may not want to change the Roberts team to a different logo if it's not intended. So if I change to a different team that I have regular access to, and we're going to see up here, my toolbar up here at the top has gotten a little bit shorter. So I no longer have access to the integrations or the audit log. I can no longer take a peek at those. My users, if I click on users, we're going to see that I no longer have access to make any changes here. So I can really only see what users there are, as well as the type of access that they have. The next thing I want to go through is the settings. So the settings here, we can see that the only setting that I'm allowed to see is the progressive web app. And this is something that the company admin has access to make changes to. So that's where all of these permissions are coming from. And those are the main differences between a supporting user that is a super user versus a supporting user that has regular access. Now we're going to go ahead and learn all about the company and organization admin and what it really means to have admin access. And this is really cool because if you're a 1LO team in Floify, this means that you're automatically the company admin, which means that you have access to all of the settings and all of the overrides and all of the integrations, everything that you need to have the highest level of permissions in Floify. So I think the easiest way to go about talking about company and organizational admin is to really jump into the platform. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen here. All right, so we're logged into this organization dashboard for Brooke@Floify.com. So that means that Brooke@Floify.com is an organization admin, and really looking from the top down, the organization will be comprised of multiple different companies, which then is comprised of multiple different teams and users and settings, etc. So this is very, very similar to what that company dashboard looks like. And you can see here, we use the same exact action icons. So everything's really familiar. To log into this company dashboard, all I'm going to do is click on the 3 blue people. Same thing, moving down. And then over to the right, I can add organization admins. It's as easy as just clicking on that button, inputting their email address and saving. And then up here at the top, I can see that I have access to all of the organization settings as well as the audit log. So let me just go ahead and log into a company dashboard. So what this is doing is it's going to take me into the company dashboard for Floify Mortgage Group. And then this would be the view that any company admin has. So if a company admin is logging into their account and switching into the company dashboard, they have all of the access here. So here you have the option to view all of the loans for every single team that's on your company. So it's actually really cool. And it's a new feature, but it's very, very cool. You can see all of the active loans, archived loans, and then you have all of the action icons here to see the loan flow owner, the loan, everything that has to do with that specific borrower. That next tab over there is the teams. So these are those manager accounts. So these are the teams that have their own specific settings that they have for their account. And each one of these teams will have their own subdomain. Next are the users. So the users tab is a little bit different from the teams in terms of you will see every single user that is in this company. So that includes managers, supporting users, and then within those supporting users, those super users versus regular users. And then just one tip here, we denote them just a little bit differently on the users tab. So the kind of user we can see here, we do still have that manager account and we do still have that super user, but the regular users are determined as lenders on this page. So next, the admins, same thing. It's as easy to add an admin here as it is on the organization. And then the really cool thing here is that you have access to all of these company settings. So all of these company settings will take place for every single account within that company. So if I change the company name on this company dashboard, that's going to change it for every single team that's on my company. Same thing for NMLS. And some of these configurations here can be enabled on the company dashboard, but then will also need to be enabled at the team level as well. So if you're ever seeing that duplicate step where you need to enable it in both places, this is just to give that company admin a little bit more security, so that they can say, yes, this is permitted for my teams to use, or no, this is not permitted for my teams to use. So one example of that is our newest feature, the Floify e-sign. If it's enabled here, that means that that tab will now show up in the team settings, and that team just simply has to enable it to actually have that feature on their account. So that was just a high-level overview of the company dashboard. So next, we're gonna go back to the slides. All right, so last, I really just want to touch on this user hierarchy, just to pull everything in together. So first, we know that the organization admin has the most permissions. So this really means that they have access to every single company dashboard within that organization. Then once that organization admin logs into the company admin accounts, that means that they're logging in to see that specific company and all the users within that company. The company admin then has access to all of the settings, the company settings, the overrides, the integrations, the teams, the users, everything within that company. And then we can see here the different types of managers. So we can have a manager account only. That manager will only then have access to their team account with their specific settings, their setups, their pipeline, everything like that. Next, we have a manager and a company admin. So that manager then has access to their pipeline, but then they can also toggle into the company dashboard, which in turn allows them to log into any user, so supporting users as well. And then third, we have those managers and shared users. So this would be any manager who has access to a different pipeline. So that would be, let's say, a branch manager. The branch manager has their own specific pipeline, but they also need to see everybody else's pipeline within that branch as well. So that manager can then, so they'll log into their account, have access to their pipeline, but then they'll also be able to toggle back and forth between the different manager accounts. And then down here, the very last, we have those super users and regular users. Both are supporting users. The super user just has access to the team settings, just as the manager would, versus the regular user won't have access to the users and can have a customized set of permissions for team settings. So next, we will go into the realtor accounts. So realtors and borrowers, you know, they have their own specific type of account, and we'll go briefly into there. I'm just going to log into one real quick. All right, so we're logged into a Realtor Partner account. So you can see it looks pretty similar to my view on the other end. Up here in the upper right hand corner, I can edit any of my account details as the Realtor. And then to get into my borrower's loan flow as the Realtor Partner, I would simply just click on the red, yellow, or green button, just like I do on the LO side as well. So I'm going to click into Brook Borrowers, and we can see here that it looks almost similar, almost exactly the same actually as my view and the borrower's view. The only difference here is that in each document category, the Realtor Partner can see how many documents are in there. However, they cannot see the document names or what the borrower's uploaded to you. And this is just so that we can keep things private for the borrower. They might not want their Realtor to know any personal information or really any of the names of the documents that you've been requesting as well. So my best example of this would be if the borrower has been divorced, they might not want their Realtor to know that they've been divorced. So we're not going to show them that divorce decree document request. And then if you've given your Realtor Partner access to create the pre-approval letter or any Arizona or Texas forms on your behalf, they will have these documents here. And it's really simple to just click on that button, input the actual sales price, down payment, seller paid costs. So let me actually do this. And we will just put this, and I will generate that pre-approval letter. That's going to then put that pre-approval letter into the Docs Accepted tab of the loan flow. And that Realtor does have access to that because we don't want to restrict their access on actually being able to see the pre-approval letter that they've just generated, and then they can download that as well. Same thing for the Arizona forms. If you've given them access and have actually filled out the Arizona form or Texas forms, they will have access to generate this as well. And it really should come pre-populated with everything that you've input there on your end. So that is the Realtor Partner accounts. All right, so the very last portion of our webinar today is going to just be a brief touch on borrower users and borrower accounts. And if you haven't had the chance to view our last tips and tricks webinar where we went over the borrower experience, this ties in really great because we're going to be doing just a brief intro to what the borrower accounts are, but that goes into really a deep dive into the borrower's experience. So if you haven't had a chance to watch that just yet, go ahead and click that link down below, and you can save that webinar to watch at a later time. But let me go ahead and start sharing my screen so we can log into a borrower's account, and I'll kind of show you the little ins and outs of that. Here we go. When my borrower logs in, they'll immediately be taken to this screen if they have multiple loans open with me. But if they only have one specific loan open with me, then they will be immediately taken into the actual loan flow, so that page that we're most familiar with. But just as a precursor, even if you have the live loan flows or archived loan flows with one borrower, it will show up like that. So even when you're archiving a loan, it's still, Floify technically still shows it as a loan flow so that your borrower can see any of the documents that they provided or any signatures that they provided as well. But if you're wanting to completely remove that second option for the borrower, you can simply just completely delete the loan flow from your active and your archived. So that's the easiest way to do that. Talking a little bit more about the borrower's side, we can see once again it's very similar in look and feel. So in the upper right hand corner, they have the option to change their account details, or at least access their account details. If they have an application started with you, at the very bottom, they will see this, you started a loan application, and this is only if they've started it and haven't actually submitted it yet. So it's still in process. Another couple of items here to access their documents. It's the same simple process of clicking in the red, yellow, or green button. They can see the loan flow name, so you'll want to make this as borrower friendly as possible. They have access to see their status. So here I can see in my 2 loan flows how many days they have exceeded that deadline. And then they can also see the loan created, or the loan created date. So this is really good if they see, that they've filled out the application in 2018 and a lot has changed. That is going to mean that they're probably going to want to fill out an updated application with you. And then they also have contact information and they can see which team this is on. But pretty similar. I'm just going to click into the red docs owed from this borrower. And it's the same easy look and feel that I have on my end as a LOR broker. I can see all of the documents. It's easy to upload, download, view the sample documents, or even declare the document as not applicable. I can also see any documents that I've already uploaded to you. I can view them, download them, anything that I need to. I can see up here at the top all of the milestones that I've gone through. So if I hover over these milestones, I can see the date that they were checked off. I don't have access to actually click on them to prompt them out. And then the last portion of the borrower's loan flow is that they have access to add in a document that maybe you didn't request from them. So they have access to just come in here, name the document, browse their computer to select the document, and then submit that. And that will then show over on my end in the docs pending review, waiting for me to review that document. All right, so that is it for today. I just want to thank you all for joining us. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please send those to support@floify.com. And if you have any requests for the next Tips and Tricks webinar, feel free to send those our way as well. And everybody, have a great day.